Let's take a look at how we're going to use Google Classroom and KCSD as the platform for delivering our e-learning assignments for an inclement weather day. If you are familiar with using Google Classroom, you probably already thought about how you are going to deliver these lessons. Some teachers have a special Google Classroom that will be titled e-learning day in the title. Older students may be using a Google Classroom daily, and they will just go to that classroom to find a section for e-learning day assignments. Whatever direction you take, I strongly recommend that you review this frequently with students here in the beginning of the school year. And also be sure to take into account parents will be looking at this and are not as familiar with the Google Classroom as their student. I recommend making sure everything is clearly labeled. Let's talk about how we can do that. If you are using a special e-learning day classroom, make sure that it is labeled that in the title, somewhere in this area. If you're using a Google Classroom you use daily, be sure that when you are in the Google Classroom, you have posted an announcement under the stream. This is very important because this is that landing spot when you click on Google Classroom as a student or parent, and you want to be sure to have something very clearly announced for parents and students for e-learning. For example, in this simple announcement, I am just directing students and parents to the Classwork tab located at the top so that they know how to get started. I would also recommend for younger students and their parents even attaching a video that you've made as a teacher directing parents maybe how to get started. It's never a bad idea to give as much information as possible at this point. Now, everyone's really going to post the materials and assignments under classwork. That's located at the top next to stream. If you are familiar with Google Classroom, you probably already use the topics feature to organize your classwork page. If you are not familiar, let me show you how that works. You go to the blue Create button and go all the way to the bottom of the drop-down list to select Topic. Topic works like labeling folders. We give it an e-learning title and click Add. I also recommend that if you have many topics, you bump this e-learning to the top of your classwork page for the e-learning day. Now, no matter what I go to post for the students to work on, I can choose it to be posted under the e-learning topic, and it will list below, making it very easy for students and parents to locate on an inclement weather day. Let's take a look at the type of post that you can make on your classwork page. Go to the blue Create button and you'll have a drop down of options. An assignment post will allow you to post an assignment with attachments for students to access and will allow them to click Turn In to indicate they have completed it. Quiz assignment works similarly, but it will add a Google form. If you are interested in using that, it will be created and you can edit from there. The question post allows students to respond to open-ended questions or one multiple choice question. That can be sufficient for e-learning. And finally, there is material that gives you an opportunity to post attachments and like PDFs and videos and websites, but it will not offer the students an option to click Turn In to indicate they completed the assignment. Any of these could be used for e-learning day assignments, or you can select reuse posts to pull something from an older classroom. So for my example today, my students are going to use the question feature. And for my lesson, they're going to be reviewing adding and subtracting decimals. I'm going to follow the title with some instructions to watch the video and answer the question by explaining how to solve one of the math problems on the worksheet. So, as indicated in these instructions, I'm going to give a few attachments for students to pull up and then complete on this open-ended question. I'm selecting short answers, so it will be open-ended, but this is where you could change to a multiple choice question and give responses they would pick from. Depending on the nature of your work, you may want students to see and reply to each other, or you may not. And depending on what you're working on, students may need to have the option to go back and edit their work. I typically leave this open. Don't forget that we are posting this under an e-learning section, so when you click topic, choose that topic. If you had not created that ahead of time, you could create it now. Let's look at the type of attachments I can put onto this question post for my e-learning assignment. I'm going to use a YouTube video that a colleague has created on adding and subtracting decimals. I can pull that URL and post it directly, or I could use a MP4 file or other video file and post it as an attachment with the paperclip. I also have a worksheet I've directed my students to look at to choose a problem from. I have that saved on my desktop, so I choose the paperclip. I go to share files on your device. I'm looking on my desktop for that worksheet. Once I have clicked it and it is loaded here in my list, I click upload. So now I'm starting to see my attachments listed on my post. Again, this is going to prompt my students with a response box after they see these attachments. If I were working in advance, I could use an option to schedule this post or save the draft to come back and assign later, but I'm ready to post, so I click Ask. So now my post, my assignment for e-learning is lodged underneath e-learning. I click it to review my attachments. There's my YouTube video, the worksheet, my directions, and students will be able to go on and start to pick a problem, explain it, and post that. When they do, I see turned in. If I were to use just an assignment post, students wouldn't have that response box, but it would still look similar to this, and they would have a blue button to click turn in. Again, let me recommend that you provide as much attention to detail as possible. If you are working with younger students, I recommend recording yourself in a screencast or a video of you face-to-face so that students could hear instructions. That's really helpful for parents. Make sure that you used an announcement on stream. Let me point out that my announcement got bumped down after I placed my assignment. I could bump that up so parents could see it at the top of the list. And it's always a good idea to give an email address or some other directions on how to connect with the teacher in the virtual hours. So now that I want to go back and add that, I click Edit, and I'm just allowed to add that to my message. Provide the email address so parents don't have to dig around too much. And if you did a video for your younger students, you could explain it on there as well. Again, adding the attachment from one of these options. So there's a quick overview of how to use Google Classroom as a platform for your e-learning day assignment. This was just the basics. If you have additional questions, feel free to reach out to your TIS. Your TIISs at the district office, including myself, Nikki Ingram, Google Certified Trainer for Kershaw County School District. Thank you.